Hey, what's up everyone, it's Yuma here back with another video. Today I'll be showing you how to kill Vindicta and Gorvek. Just a quick heads up, any items such as equipment loadouts or inventory setups I have in this guide are just recommendations. So if you do have slightly different gear or a slightly different inventory setup, that's totally fine. It's just what I've been using when I go to fight this boss. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it. So this boss has a total of 200,000 life points. It's split into two phases. The first phase will have 100,000 and the second phase will have another 100,000. So moving on to the recommendations, for this boss I recommend a 80 plus combat and defense, 71 plus prayers so you can use deflect curses and soul split if you're high enough, a 96 plus herbal level so you could bring along some overloads, 80 plus weapons so you deal enough DPS damage to kill this boss efficiently, 80 plus armor to defend yourself from this boss because they can hit you quite hard. If you're using deflective curses for this fight, I recommend range protection, but if your prayer level is a little bit higher, then I recommend you use soul split. And lastly, I recommend you bring a damage boosting familiar, such as a War Tortoise, Steel Titan, Calgarian Demon, just anything that deals damage towards this boss to help you speed up the fight. So now moving on to equipment, I'm going to start mid tier, then work my way up to high tier. So for the melee gear, starting from top left, I recommend a Obsidian Cape, an Amulet of Fury, an Asylum Surgeon Ring, a Quiver, any tier is fine. For the weapon, I recommend a God Sword, so I've gone with Sara, and an Ancient Book, again, anyone is fine. Then for the armour, I've gone with Bandos, so equipped a helmet, chestplate, gloves, tassets, and boots. For the range gear, I recommend again Obsidian Cape, Amulet Fury, Asylum Surgeon Ring, and a Quiver, anyone is fine. Then for the weapon, change it for a Dark Bow, and you can keep the Ancient Book, again, anyone is fine too. Then for the armour, I've gone with Armadillo, so equip the helmet, chestplate, gloves, chainskirt and boots. For the mage, I recommend exactly the same, but change your quiver for a rune pouch. I've gone with Grasping, the weapon for a Staff of Light, and I recommend for your armour, Subjugation, so hood, garb, gloves, gown and boots. Okay, so moving on to the high tier equipment. So for the melee gear, I recommend a melee kiln cape, an amulet of souls, any version is fine, a ring of death and any tier quiver. Then for the weapon, I recommend a Nox Sith and a scripture of Jas. Then for the armor, I recommend trimmed masterwork, but change the gloves for a death touch bracelet. For the range gear, I recommend the same, but change your kiln cape for the rain version and change your weapons for ascensions. So I've got the main hand and the offhand. And for the armor, I recommend you bring along Serenic, but again change the gloves for a death touch bracelet and change the boots for fleeting. Lastly, for the mage gear, I recommend the kiln cape and a mage version, change the quiver for a grasping rune pouch, the weapon, a Nox staff, and your armor I recommend Virtus, but swap out the gloves for a death touch bracelet and the boots for hellfire. Okay, so moving on to inventory loadouts, I'm going to start mid tier again, then work up to high tier. So starting with mid tier, I recommend bringing some overload flasks. If your herbal level isn't high enough for overloads, I recommend bringing along some War Master flasks, super prayer renewal potions and super restore flasks, some food, so I've gone with shark, a familiar, so War Tortoise pouch and scrolls. If you've augmented your equipment, then I recommend you bring some equipment siphons, just so you don't have to leave the instance if you need to disassemble your equipment. A really helpful item to bring along for this fight is a shield, the higher level the better, I'll explain why shortly. An advanced gold accumulator, this isn't necessary but I believe it picks up 90% of GP the boss drops, so you don't have to. An enhanced Excalibur for the health bonus, and a spring cleaner is always useful to have on you. Then an Elven ritual shard is basically an Excalibur, but it just restores your prayer instead of your health. And moving on to the high tier inventory loadout, I recommend exactly the same, but change your overloads for supreme and change your familiar to a ripper demon, so the pouch and the scrolls. Okay, so moving on to the different attacks Vindicta and Gorvek do. I want to talk to you about 6 different attacks they do. I will break them up individually just to give you a little bit better understanding before we get into the fight. So the first attack is Vindicta's normal auto attack. So basically during one of her auto attacks, every other player in the area is dealt a ranged hit which has a 100% chance. This is basically her normal attack when she's not performing any other attack, so I suggest just using Soul Split, or if you don't have it, deflect melee or protect from melee. The next attack she does is a Hurricane, which basically hits all players within 2 spaces of her with a melee hit with a 100% chance. This is similar to her first attack, but it just has a slightly bigger hit radius. Again, I recommend Soul Split, deflect melee or protect from melee. The next attack that they do is a firewall attack, and this will be initiated by Gorvek to start with, and it will happen around 23 seconds into the fight. And basically a line of purple fire appears in the arena, and if you continue to step in this fire you will be dealt rapid magic damage, which is 1000 damage every tick. In the second phase, they will do this every time they land from their fly ability. So again, all you want to do is stand either side of the flame wall to not take any damage every tick. And if you've used the Sunshine or Death Swiftness abilities just before and the firewall has appeared, you can stand on the edges of the abilities and you can still benefit from their effects and not take damage from the wall. Now you can use the Surge ability to escape the flame wall, but I just recommend running either side because it's a little bit quicker and then you can just carry on with the fight like normal. So the fly ability they do just before they initiate the flame wall attack will look like this, and all you want to do is pray Soul Split or keep your deflective curses on. If you have the abilities Slaughter, Fragmentation Shot or Combust, you can initiate these just before they fly away just to do some extra damage, and again when they land stand either side so you don't take any damage from the flame wall. In phase 2, Gorvek will initiate a melee attack, and this is basically the same as Vindicta's one. It's just a normal attack they do when we're not initiating any other. And again you can use Soul Split, deflect melee or protect from melee. Now the last attack I want to talk about is Gorvek's range attack. Now basically the target is hit with a ranged auto attack that deals damage in a 3x3 area. Its damage increases each rotation, like the ranged projectiles in phase 1, this attack has a 100% hit chance. So basically all you want to do is when this attack is about to happen, you want to equip your shield, then cast the resonance ability to gain health back from the attack, and then equip your weapon to carry on with the fight. If you have deflective prayers on or protective prayers on, the heal will be reduced by 50%. Soul Split isn't affected by this, I believe, it's just the deflects and protects. So just before you cast the resonance ability, just turn off the prayers and then turn them back on after you've gained the health. If resonance isn't available, you can deflect missiles / protect from missiles to reduce the damage, and then you can cast devotion or debilitate to further reduce the damage, or you can just simply tank through the attack and then just use your Soul Split to regain the health. Lastly, just a revolution bar setup for whichever combat style you'll be using. You can alter it depending on the abilities you have and what suits you, but this is just what I recommend for each one. I will leave a link in the description just so you can look at what they're called and then set the bars up before you start the fight. This is my revolution bar for my range, and I've split it into 3 different bars. So on the top you have the revolution bar I will be using for my attack. If you're using mage or melee, then it will obviously be different. The middle bar consists of deflective curses, Soul Split, then on the right side you have surge, escape and anticipation. But the reason for showing you this bar is because of the bottom row, and that is because of your resonance setup. So in the first slot in the bottom left you want to put your shield in, then in the slot next to it you want to put the resonance ability. After that you want to put your offhand weapon that you'll want to re-equip after swapping out your shield, and in the last two is freedom and crystal mask, but I won't be using them for this fight. Then what you want to do is keybind the slots with buttons. For this I've gone with F1, F2, F3, only because they're quite separate from the keyboard, so they're easier to press when I need to use them. And the order you want to do this is press F1 to equip your shield, F2 straight after to activate the resonance ability. Once you've gained the health back from the ability, you want to press F3 to re-equip your offhand weapon, then just carry on with the fight. If this doesn't make any sense at a moment, then don't worry, because in a moment I'm going to start the boss fight and I'm going to be using this setup during the fight, so hopefully you will understand it a little bit better then. Okay, so now we have all of that out of the way, I'm going to show you how to get to the boss fight, and then I'm going to show you the boss fight itself. So let's go. So if you've never been to the boss fight before, or you've never been to the heart, then you want to go to Al-Kharid, and then you want to teleport yourself to the lodestone, just here. And then what you want to do is follow this path all the way through the desert, through bandit camp, until you cross over the bridge, and then you arrive just here. If you've activated the bandit camp lodestone, you can use that, run across the bridge, and you'll end up at the heart. If you have a pharaoh scepter, you can teleport to the agility pyramid, run north. If you have a desert amulet 2, 3 or 4, you can use that, run southwest, and you'll end up at the heart. You can use the Menethos lodestone if you've activated it, run north through the gates and then cross the bridge, and you'll reach your destination that way. But personally, the quickest way to get into the heart, if you haven't got a single kill count, and if you've completed the mini quest Tales of the God Walls, is to use the heart teleport. You can buy these off the Grand Exchange, and it will teleport you to the center of the heart, just down the lift. Okay, so the last way I'm going to show you, and probably the quickest way, is by teleporting yourself to a Walls Retreat from the teleport tab. Just to bear in mind, you can only use this method if you've killed the boss at least once. But once you have, you can just go down these stairs and re-attune one of these two portals. Click Vindicta and Gorvek from the tab. There will be a small fee, but once you've paid it, you'd have to pay it again. Click yes, and the destination it will take you is just outside the portal in the heart. It just saves you a little bit of running. So a few tips I want to mention before we get into the boss fight, and that is reputation. So in the center you can find yourself Feng, and you can press the get bounty option. He will ask which faction you're fighting for, and you want to press Zavos because you're fighting for Vindicta and Gorvek. Now once you start handing these bounties in, you'll start getting reputation points, which unlock certain things in the shop. They can be really useful, such as increased drop rates at the boss fight and reduce kill count needed to enter the boss fight. It can just help when you have 0 kill count. It will just speed up going into the boss fight. Then when you are fighting the boss, it just helps with drop rates, because you can get more for your time. Okay, so once you're inside the heart is split up into 4 factions and 4 separate bits, I suppose. Each one has a different boss, and each section has, I guess, different minions to kill before you enter the boss. So because we're killing Vindicta and Gorvek, we'll want to go down the corresponding bridge, and the boss fight will be in the corner just before a portal. And what you want to do is just head all the way to the corner, and you're gonna need a 40 kill count before you enter. Now if you've done a few reputation bounties, you might be able to get in with only 20, but if you're started out and you haven't got any reputation, then you will need 40 to get into here, and you'll just have to cross the barrier and then you can enter the portal just here. Okay, so once you have all of that out of the way, you want to grab yourself your 40 kill count to get through the barrier. Then you want to grab your combat gear and your adventure loadout. Then you want to take a sip of Overload or War Master, your Super Restore, activate your Familiar, add some pouches, activate your Elven Ritual Shard and your Excalibur. A Vampyrism ore is really useful, so I recommend that, and activate your book. Then turn on your prayers and you're good to go. Okay, so once you're ready, just head into the portal and stand anywhere in the arena. Wait for Vindicta to drop down from Gorvek and then click on her. So for the start of the fight, all you want to do is DPS. So Vindicta will perform a hurricane attack and then she will follow that up with a couple of normal attacks, and you just want to watch out for Gorvek and the flame wall. And basically all you want to do is when the flame wall is activated, just to stand either side and then carry on with the fight like normal. Now depending how fast you DPS her health down, you shouldn't get another flame wall in the first half, but if you're unfortunate you might get another flame wall before the 100k health is depleted. Okay, so when the 100k has been depleted, Gorvek will fly down and Vindicta will land on him. Now all you want to do is watch out for one standard lance attack from Vindicta. Then you just want to wait until that attack has been initiated. Then press F1 to equip your shield, F2 to activate the resonance ability, and only press F3 after the health has been restored back to you, and then carry on with the fight. Then what you want to do is watch out for one more lance attack and Gorvek will fly into the air. Then you want to work out where they've landed and a flame wall will appear, and all you have to do is stand to either side and then carry on with the fight. Then Vindicta will perform the lance attack again, then Gorvek will initiate the range attack, then Vindicta will do another lance attack, and then Gorvek will fly into the air, and you just want to avoid it, and you want to just keep doing this until they are both dead. And just a little heads up, you're only able to perform the resonance ability once per fight, only because of the cooldown. So if you want, you can use it the second time they drop down. It really depends on what your health is at and how much health you want to restore. But yeah, once they are both dead, you just want to prepare yourself for the next fight. You want to aim for 1 minute 30 kills, which means your overload and super penance will last 3 fights. Then you just want to top up your prayer with a restore, and get ready for the next fight. So like before, Vindicta will fall down from Gorvek, then you just want to press Vindicta and DPS her health down. You want to keep doing this until Gorvek initiates the flame wall attack. So Vindicta will do a hurricane attack, then she will do a couple of normal attacks, then you just want to look out for Gorvek's attack just after. Then once this is initiated, you just want to stand either side and carry on with the fight like normal. Then what you want to do is keep attacking Vindicta until she reaches 100k health. I think in this fight I was unfortunate enough to get hit by another flame wall just before the 100k is over. But if that does happen, you just want to stand either side again and carry on like normal. Then Gorvek will drop down onto Vindicta and they will initiate a lance attack, then again the range attack and another lance attack. Then Gorvek will fly into the air and you just want to watch out for where they are, then avoid the flame walls and carry on with the fight like normal. So if you didn't want to use your resonance ability in the first part, you can use it in this part, or you can use it when they fly down again in the third part. It really depends on your health situation. Also, the shield ability isn't necessary in this fight, but it really does help with keeping your health up. And if you still don't understand, then don't worry, because in a little bit I will show you closer up on how to use the ability. And basically when they are both dead, just make sure your prayer is topped up. You should have enough overload and renewal to last one more fight, and you just want to prepare yourself for the next one. So I will show you one last time this boss fight, just a little bit sped up. And then at the end I will show you and tell you a few more tips that will help you with this boss. So Vindicta will fly down from Gorvek, then she will initiate a hurricane and she will follow that up with 2 standard attacks. Then you want to watch out for Gorvek's attack, the flame wall, and you want to stand either side, then carry on with the fight like normal. Then all you want to do is DPS her health down until she reaches 100k. Once this has happened, Gorvek will fly down, Vindicta will jump on top, and the second phase will happen. So there will be a lance attack, followed by a range attack, followed by a lance attack, then they will fly into the air, initiate a flame wall, avoid it, lance attack, range attack, followed by a lance attack, they will fly into the air again, avoid the flame wall, and keep rinsing and repeating this until they are both dead. So there are a few things I want to talk about just before the video ends. The first thing is a flame wall attack. So basically if you stand in the flame wall for too long, you will be dealt magic damage. It will look something like this, and basically all you want to do to avoid the damage is stand either side and carry on with the fight. If you've activated Sunshine or Death Swiftness when the flame wall has appeared, you can stand to the side like this and you still benefit from the ultimate's effect. Sometimes when Gorvek uses his flame wall ability, you don't take damage. It really depends on the angle of the flame wall. If you don't take magic damage the first couple of seconds, you can stay there and carry on with the fight. Just be aware that Gorvek and Vindicta can push you back a square sometimes, so just be aware of that. But if not, just carry on with the fight like normal, and it could speed up your kill times. Okay, and finally I want to quickly show you again the resonance ability. So basically when Gorvek and Vindicta fly up into the air, they will drop down at a certain point in the arena. You want to avoid the flame wall like normal. Then you want to carry on with the fight, and after you've done that you want to look out for the first lance attack to appear. Once that has happened, you want to press F1 to equip your shield, then F2 to activate the resonance ability, and only equip your weapon on F3 after you've gained the health back, and then you just carry on with the fight like normal. But yeah, that is basically it for Vindicta and Gorvek. If I have left any tips out or I've forgotten to mention anything in this video, I will leave it in the description below. If you've still got any questions that I haven't answered, then feel free to comment and I will answer them the best I can. But yeah, thank you for watching this video guide, and I will see you in the next one.